Hi, everybody. This is Ian Lamont from Lean Media, and today I'm going to be doing a little bit of an unusual video. I'm going to be talking about economic stuff and the impact on DTC companies, that is e-commerce, direct-to-consumer type of companies. And right now in the wider world, it's getting kind of scary. We're having a bunch of simultaneous crises going on right now related to pandemic, related to logistics, relating to even cryptocurrency is getting hammered. People are talking about recession. And I just wanted to talk about what that means for bootstrapped direct-to-consumer companies. And while things do seem a bit scary right now, it's actually, there is some reason for hope and optimism. But let's talk about some of the scary things that are happening and what DTC companies can expect. Now, I've been through several recessions in the past, although at the time, while I was engaged in the web business, I was not doing DTC e-commerce in particular. And actually, direct-to-consumer has really changed a lot. But I think there will be some impacts that are common to any business that has been through a recession before. So let's talk about that. So the first thing that's going to be happening is you're going to be cutting your costs, because what's going to be happening as a direct-to-consumer company, many of your customers will be pulling back on their spending. They'll be a lot more critical about the things they're willing to spend on. Maybe they will buy something, but it will be a less expensive item. Maybe you have to do things to try to entice them to spend money, such as free shipping or some other bonus or benefit. So that's fine. But what this means for your cost is things like marketing are going to be really cut down quite a bit. When I talk about something like branding would be, let's say that you're selling sunglasses. Branding would be, buying a booth at a surf event for your brand. Maybe you're selling something, but maybe it's just really trying to give away some freebies and get some name recognition. That's kind of like a classic type of branding exercise. Or, the Coca-Cola commercials you used to see, where they're not even really selling a specific thing. They're just talking about how good Coke makes you feel. That's a branding thing. But also what's going to be happening is non-performing platforms you're going to be cutting those campaigns. I've already started to do that for my business, both for Facebook and for Amazon. Facebook was already in trouble because of the iOS changes last year. And, looking at my Facebook campaigns, if my return on advertising spend isn't looking that good, or my cost per sale is just, off the charts, I'm not going to keep going on that. I'm not going to throw good money after bad if a campaign's not working out, or I just can't get it to work. Amazon advertising, I really took a hard look at my return, and to do that you have to do some spreadsheet work, but I determined that some of my campaigns, even ones that supposedly have good ROAS, you have to actually look at your net profit and the cost of doing the campaigns to get a really clear picture of what's working, what's not, and it may be necessary to cut some of those campaigns. So just be aware of that. If you have an agency, I think what's going to be happening is a lot of companies are going to be cutting their agencies or renegotiating the rates that they pay. And that's very unfortunate for the agencies, but that's just kind of the reality that we're in. So just keep that in mind. Let's talk about the next thing, non-essential services and expenses. So for a DTC company, this would be something like, maybe if you have a particularly large warehouse or a large office, you can downscale it to a smaller one. You're going to be taking a look at all the apps you're paying for to run your website, whether it's WordPress or Shopify or something else, and say, do I really need that app? Spending $40 a month on that, is that helping me out? A lot of these apps that service companies in the Amazon space, I think they're going to be finding it very hard to make traction right now, especially because they're so expensive. So those are going to be cut as well. Before, maybe if you're doing a lot of traveling or going to shows and things like that, you're probably going to be saying, is it really necessary for me to spend $1,000 to go to this conference on the other side of the country, if I can do something else with that money, or participate in some easier, more low cost way. So these are the types of things I'm talking about. So for staff, for a DTC company, usually the companies are not that big anyways. They don't have a lot of staff, but you may be thinking like, all right, well, if I have 4 people in my warehouse team, can I make do with 2 or 3? Or maybe if somebody leaves, maybe I don't need to backfill that particular position and I can ask everyone else to step up. Now, you have to be careful here because your employees are really an important resource. And, if you treat them badly or just, announce some very sudden and unexpected thing that affects their lives, they're going to be disappointed and resentful, and maybe that's going to negatively impact your company in multiple bad ways. And I would say, like, if you have people on your team who are really great people and are critical to the core of the company, try to keep them as long as you can. If you have to do something where you're considering layoffs, see if maybe you can talk with everyone and work out something where employees take a 10% haircut, and then you, the manager, you take an even bigger haircut, and you let them know about that, just so you know that you're all in this together and you're all making some cuts in order to stay solvent. One time I talked with somebody who basically ran a big nonprofit in New York City, and he made a deal with the union. It's like, we're not going to lay anybody off, but everyone's going to have to tighten their belts and take a pay cut. And the unions agreed. They said, we'd rather have everybody keep their job than having to do any sort of layoff. So even for a small company, DTC company, you can think about that too. All right. So this next one is super important for a DTC shop. And actually, this came up when the coronavirus first started. I had this conversation with my main supplier, and I just wanted to see how they were going to be faring during what looked to be like the start of a recession. This is in like March or April of 2020. And they depended a lot on another type of customer that did a lot of events. And of course, those events just went out the window. So all of a sudden, we were one of their very important customers. And fortunately, our business started to go up, so it worked out pretty well. But I would say if you have a key partner, whether it's a marketing partner, whether it's a packaging, whether it's manufacturing, whether it's logistics, talk with them. Just kind of get a lay of the land, see what's going on, start the conversation, and hopefully both sides will be able to understand each other, where the pressure points are, and maybe work out some sort of arrangements which make things easier for both sides and make things better and help both of you survive. It's a really key thing to do this. A lot of DTC companies, they like to run everything by email or electronic communication. Pick up the phone, see them in person if you need to. I think it's really important to have those deep conversations now before things get really bad, and they will get worse. Okay. I wanted to talk about the good things too. So yes, it sucks that all of a sudden your customers won't be spending as much. You'll have more pressure on your bottom line. Revenue will decline, all of these other things, but you have revenue. If you have a loyal customer base, if you have a big mailing list, if you have people that know your brand, that's a great thing. If you have revenue, that's really, really good, because a lot of these investor-funded companies, often engaged in tech, but sometimes engaged in some sort of DTC venture, some rich person gave them a lot of money to start up whatever. They don't have real revenue to support operations. They're going to be in a lot of pain right now because they just don't have the revenue, and investors probably aren't going to give them any more money. So this puts you in a position of strength, that you do have revenue, you do have customers, you've been able to manage the company through organic growth rather than, some sort of investor cash injection, and that's a good thing. Speaking of investors and money, it's a little bit late to be looking at getting loans from banks or from other people if you need that type of thing, because interest rates are going up, and also revenue has been kind of trending down, especially since last year with all the Facebook and iOS changes. So while you may be able to get some sort of loan, that should not be used, first of all, to kind of fund operations. That should really be around investments that you need to make, and it may be a little bit late to do that anyways. I'm just bringing that up because that does come up with some DTC companies. And then finally, we'll get through this. If you have the revenue, if you're able to tighten the belt in the right places, treat your customers, treat your employees, treat your partners right, I think you'll get through this. And these things, they do end. It looks really bad when you're in the midst of it, but kind of keep your spirits up, think the long game, and hopefully, we'll come out on the other end and be ready for the next stage of growth. This is Ian Lamont from Lean Media. If this video helped you, please take a moment to like it. Also, if you go to leanmedia.org, click on video, you can see all of my video playlists on Amazon stuff, DTC. I even have some Shopify videos. It's all right there. Or if you can subscribe and follow me wherever you're watching this particular video right now. Thank you. This is Ian. Thank you so much for watching. I'll talk to you next time.